A crazy day at the office. Have you ever experienced a day so chaotic, so unpredictable that it felt like the universe was playing a practical joke on you? Today's story will take you on a wild ride through the most insane workday imaginable. If you love stories that make you laugh, gasp, and wonder what could possibly happen next, then hit that subscribe button right now to join our story-driven English community. Let's dive into A Crazy Day at the Office, a tale that will improve your English while entertaining you from beginning to end. It was Monday morning, and Sarah Jenkins arrived at the Apex Solutions office building at precisely 8:45 a.m., just as she had done every weekday for the past 3 years. The familiar glass doors slid open as she approached, coffee in one hand and laptop bag in the other. The security guard, Mr. Thompson, gave her his usual friendly nod. "Morning, Sarah. Ready for another week?" he asked with a warm smile. "As ready as I'll ever be," Sarah replied, returning the smile despite the slight feeling of dread that always accompanied Monday mornings. Little did she know that this particular Monday would be unlike any other in her professional career. Sarah worked as a marketing coordinator at Apex Solutions, a mid-sized software company that developed productivity apps for businesses. Her desk was on the 4th floor, in a corner of the open-plan office that gave her a decent view of the city skyline. As she exited the elevator and walked toward her workspace, she noticed something unusual. Her colleagues were gathered in small groups, whispering excitedly. "What's going on?" Sarah asked Raj, her closest work friend whose desk was next to hers. Raj's eyes were wide with excitement. "Haven't you heard? Mr. Peterson is retiring, and today they're announcing who will replace him as marketing director." Sarah's heartbeat quickened. She had been working tirelessly for a promotion over the past year, staying late, taking on extra projects, and even completing a part-time master's degree in digital marketing. Could today be the day her efforts would finally be recognized? "You think it could be?" she started to ask, but was interrupted by the office manager's voice over the intercom. "All marketing department staff, please gather in the conference room in 5 minutes. Mr. Davidson has an important announcement." The next 5 minutes were the longest of Sarah's life. She quickly checked her appearance in her compact mirror, straightened her blazer, and walked to the conference room with Raj and the others. The room was buzzing with speculation as everyone took their seats around the large oval table. Mr. Davidson, the company's CEO, entered the room, followed by a tall man with salt and pepper hair, whom Sarah had never seen before. The room fell silent. "Good morning, everyone," Mr. Davidson began. "As you know, after 25 dedicated years, Richard Peterson is retiring from his position as marketing director. We are grateful for his invaluable contributions to Apex Solutions." There was a polite round of applause. "Today, I am pleased to introduce you to Martin Wells." Mr. Davidson gestured toward the stranger. "Martin comes to us with 15 years of experience from Horizon Tech, and will be taking over as your new marketing director, effective immediately." Sarah felt as if someone had poured ice water down her back. She glanced at Raj, who gave her a sympathetic look. All her hopes for that promotion evaporated in an instant. They had brought in an outsider instead of promoting from within. "I'm looking forward to working with all of you," Martin said with a confident smile. "I have some fresh ideas that I believe will take Apex's marketing strategy to the next level." After the brief introduction, the meeting was adjourned, and everyone filed back to their desks. Sarah moved mechanically, her mind racing with disappointment and confusion. She had been so certain that her hard work would be recognized. "Don't take it too hard," Raj whispered as they returned to their desks. "Maybe this Wells guy won't last long. You know how these external hires sometimes don't fit with the company culture." Sarah nodded absently, trying to regain her composure. Just as she was settling in at her desk, her computer screen suddenly went black. She pressed a few keys, but nothing happened. Then, all the lights in the office flickered and went out. "What now?" Someone groaned from across the room. The backup generator kicked in, providing dim emergency lighting, but all the computers remained dead. The office manager's voice came over the emergency PA system. "Everyone, please remain calm. We're experiencing a power outage that has affected the entire building. The IT department is investigating the cause. In the meantime, please use your mobile devices for any urgent communications." Just as everyone was digesting this news, the fire alarm began to blare. Red lights flashed, and the piercing sound of the alarm filled the air. "Is this a drill?" Sarah asked, looking around in confusion. "I don't think so," Raj replied, already gathering his personal items. "Come on, we need to evacuate." The entire office began moving toward the emergency stairwell. Sarah grabbed her purse and phone, leaving her laptop behind as per the evacuation protocol. As they descended the stairs along with dozens of other employees from various departments, rumors spread quickly. "I heard it's an electrical fire in the server room." "No. Someone said there's a gas leak in the cafeteria." "My friend in IT said it might be a cyber attack that caused the power grid to fail." By the time they reached the ground floor and exited into the designated assembly area, a small park across the street from the building, Sarah's head was spinning with all the different theories. The morning sun was bright, and the park was soon filled with confused employees from all 15 floors of the office building. Department managers were trying to account for all their staff members amidst the chaos. Sarah and Raj found a bench under a large oak tree and sat down to wait for further instructions. The new marketing director, Martin Wells, approached them with a clipboard. "Jenkins and Patel, correct?" he asked, checking off their names. "Good to see you made it out safely. Do you know if Linda and Miguel from your team are out here too?" "I saw Linda heading toward the coffee cart over there," Sarah pointed. "I'm not sure about Miguel. He might have been in the restroom when the alarm went off." Martin nodded and moved on to the next group of marketing employees. Sarah couldn't help but be impressed by how quickly he had memorized everyone's names and taken charge of the situation. "Maybe he won't be so bad after all," she muttered to Raj. "Look!" Raj suddenly exclaimed, pointing back at their building. A small plume of smoke was visible from one of the upper floors. Not their floor, thankfully, but perhaps 2 or 3 stories higher. Fire trucks arrived with sirens wailing, and firefighters rushed into the building. The crowd of employees watched anxiously, speculating about what might have caused the fire and whether they would be allowed back in today. After about 30 minutes, one of the firefighters emerged and spoke with Mr. Davidson in the building manager. Mr. Davidson then addressed the gathered employees using a megaphone. "Everyone, I have an update. There was a small electrical fire on the 7th floor, but it has been contained. However, the fire department needs to complete their investigation, and the power company needs to check the electrical systems before they can declare the building safe. This will likely take the rest of the day, A collective groan rose from the crowd. Therefore, Mr. Davidson continued, we are implementing our remote work protocol for today. Department heads, please coordinate with your teams. Essential personnel who need access to physical materials may relocate to our auxiliary office space at the Riverside Business Center. Everyone else, please work from home today. We expect normal operations to resume tomorrow. The crowd began to disperse, with people making phone calls or sending messages to arrange their work plans for the day. Sarah turned to Raj. Well, I guess we're working from home today, but all my files are on my laptop, which is still up there. Same. Here. Raj sighed. Maybe we should see if we can go to that auxiliary office space. Before they could decide, Martin approached them again. Jenkins, Patel, I need you both at the Riverside office. We have that campaign presentation for VitaTech tomorrow, and we can't afford to lose a day of preparation. Sarah's heart sank. The VitaTech presentation was a major project, and she had been working on it for weeks. The thought of continuing that work under these chaotic circumstances, and with a new boss she was still unsure about, was not appealing. Nevertheless, she nodded professionally. Of course. We'll head there right away. Good, Martin replied. I've arranged for a company van to transport our team. It should be here in about 15 minutes. As they waited for the van, Sarah noticed a commotion near the entrance of the park. A woman was arguing with security guards, trying to enter the cordoned-off area near their building. As the woman turned in frustration, Sarah gasped. Is that Emily Winters? She whispered to Raj. Emily. Winters was the CEO of their biggest competitor, Data Drive Inc. What was she doing here on the day of a mysterious office fire? Before they could speculate further, the company van arrived, and Martin ushered his team inside. The Riverside Business Center was about 20 minutes away, in a newer part of the city. The auxiliary office was much smaller than their usual space, just a large room with desks, computers, and basic office supplies that the company kept for emergencies exactly like this one. All right, team, Martin said once everyone was settled. This is not ideal, but we need to make the best of it. The IT department has granted us remote access to the servers, so we should be able to retrieve most of our work files. Sarah, where do we stand with the VitaTech presentation? Sarah opened one of the computers and logged in. The main presentation is about 80% complete. I still need to finalize the market analysis section and incorporate the latest campaign metrics. Good. Martin nodded. Raj, can you help with the metrics while Sarah works on the analysis? Linda and Miguel, I need you to prepare the supplementary materials and mock-ups. Everyone got to work, and for a while, things proceeded relatively smoothly despite the unusual setting. But around noon, just as they were starting to make real progress, the door to their temporary office burst open. A maintenance worker stood there, looking flustered. Sorry to interrupt, folks, but we need to shut off the water to this section of the building for emergency repairs. There's been a pipe burst on the floor above. You're welcome to stay, but there won't be any restrooms or drinking water available for at least 4 hours. Martin pinched the bridge of his nose in obvious frustration. Are there any other spaces available in the building that we could use? The maintenance worker shook his head. Sorry, everything else is fully booked. Seems like a lot of companies had emergencies today. After the maintenance worker left, Martin turned to his team. Any suggestions? We could go to a coffee shop, Linda offered. 5 people working for hours in a coffee shop isn't practical, Miguel countered. Plus, security concerns with the confidential materials we're handling. Sarah hesitated, then raised her hand slightly. My apartment is about 10 minutes from here. It's not very big, but I have a dining table that seats 6, reliable Wi-Fi, and, well, functioning plumbing. Martin considered this for a moment. That's actually not a bad idea, if you're comfortable with it. Is everyone okay with continuing our work at Sarah's place? Everyone nodded, and 20 minutes later, Sarah found herself in the surreal situation of unlocking her apartment door for her entire marketing team, including her brand new boss. She was thankful she had cleaned over the weekend, but still felt self-conscious as everyone filed in and looked around her personal space. Nice place, Raj commented, trying to ease the awkwardness. Thanks, Sarah replied. Let me just clear off the dining table and we can set up there. As Sarah hastily moved her breakfast dishes to the sink, her phone rang. It was an unknown number, but she answered it anyway. Hello, is this Sarah Jenkins? A formal-sounding voice asked. Yes, it is. Who's calling, please? This is Detective Wilson with the City Police Department. We're investigating the incident at the Apex Solutions building today. I understand you work there? Sarah's eyes widened. Yes, I do. Is everything okay? We believe the fire may not have been an accident. We're asking all employees a few questions. Would you be available to come down to the station this afternoon? Sarah looked at her living room, now converted, into an impromptu office with her colleagues busily setting up their laptops. I'm actually in the middle of an important project right now. Is this something we could do over the phone? I'm afraid not, Ms. Jenkins. But if today is inconvenient, we could schedule for tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning would be much better, thank you. Very well. Please come to the Central Precinct at 9 a.m. Ask for me, Detective Wilson. Sarah ended the call, her mind racing. The fire wasn't an accident? What could that mean? Everything okay? Martin asked, noticing her concerned expression. That was the police, Sarah explained. They think the fire might not have been an accident, and they want to question all employees. This revelation cast a shadow over the team. They exchanged worried glances. Well, Martin said after a moment, that's concerning, but there's nothing we can do about it right now. Let's focus on the task at hand. We still have a presentation to complete. The team tried to return their attention to work, but the atmosphere had changed. The unusual circumstances of the day now seemed even more sinister, with the possibility that the fire had been deliberately set. As they worked, Sarah's neighbor's dog began barking incessantly, making it difficult to concentrate. Then, just as they were getting back into a productive rhythm, a construction crew began jackhammering on the street below Sarah's window. You have got to be kidding me, Linda groaned, covering her ears. They've been doing road work all week, Sarah apologized. But they usually finish by noon. I didn't expect them to still be at it. Despite the noise and distractions, the team persevered. By mid-afternoon, they had made significant progress on the presentation. Martin turned out to be quite knowledgeable and had some excellent suggestions that actually improved Sarah's original concept. Let's take a short break, Martin suggested around 3 p.m. We've been going non-stop since this morning, Sarah took the opportunity to make coffee for everyone and set out some cookies she had baked over the weekend. As they relaxed for a few minutes, Miguel's phone pinged with a news alert. "Hey guys, look at this," he said, holding up his phone. "The local news is reporting on the fire at our building." Everyone gathered around to read the headline. Suspected corporate espionage. A tech company fire. The article claimed that anonymous sources in the police department believe the fire might have been set to cover up the theft of sensitive information from one of the companies in the building. It specifically mentioned Emily Winters being seen near the building around the time of the fire. "That's the woman we saw arguing with security," Raj exclaimed. "This is getting strange," Linda said, shaking her head. "First the new director announcement, then the power outage, the fire, and now possible corporate espionage." "Let's not jump to conclusions," Martin cautioned. "News outlets often sensationalize stories like this." They reluctantly returned to work. But Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that something about the situation wasn't right. Why had Emily Winters been at their building? And why today of all days, when there was a new marketing director starting and a mysterious fire breaking out? As they were finalizing the presentation around 5 p.m., Sarah's doorbell rang. When she opened the door, she was shocked to see Mr. Davidson standing there with Mr. Thompson, the security guard from their building. "Ms. Jenkins, sorry to intrude," Mr. Davidson said solemnly. "May we come in? We need to speak with Mr. Wells immediately." Sarah stepped aside, bewildered, as the two men entered her apartment. Martin looked up from his laptop, equally confused. "Martin Wells?" Mr. Thompson asked, his friendly demeanor from that morning replaced by a stern professionalism. "Yes?" Martin replied, standing up. "We need you to come with us, sir. There are some serious questions about your credentials and your activities today." The room fell silent. Everyone stared at Martin, whose face had suddenly gone pale. "What is this about?" he demanded, though his voice lacked conviction. Mr. Davidson stepped forward. "The real Martin Wells called me from the airport in Chicago an hour ago. His flight was delayed due to weather, which is why he couldn't be here for his first day. So I'd very much like to know who you are and what you're doing with my marketing team." The imposter looked around the room like a cornered animal. Then, in a swift motion, he grabbed his laptop and made a dash for the door. Mr. Thompson, despite his age, moved with surprising speed and agility, tackling the man before he could escape. The laptop clattered to the floor, its screen cracking. "Call the police!" Mr. Davidson shouted as he helped Mr. Thompson restrain the struggling imposter. Sarah fumbled for her phone and dialed 911, her hands shaking. The rest of the team stood, frozen in shock. Within minutes, police officers arrived and took the fake Martin Wells into custody. As they led him away, Detective Wilson, the same one who had called Sarah earlier, came in to speak with everyone. "We've been tracking this individual since this morning," Detective Wilson explained. "His real name is Victor Reeves, and he works for Data Drive Inc. We believe he was sent by Emily Winters to infiltrate your company and steal information about your upcoming projects, particularly the Vitatech campaign." "So the fire," Sarah began, "was a diversion," the detective confirmed. "Created to cause evacuation and confusion, allowing Reeves to access sensitive information in the chaos. Ms. Winters was there to receive the stolen data, but our undercover officers spotted her. Mr. Davidson looked at his shaken marketing team. I apologize that you all had to go through this. The real Martin Wells will be here tomorrow, and I verified his identity thoroughly this time. For now, I think we could all use some rest. The presentation for Vitatech has been rescheduled for next week. After Mr. Davidson, Mr. Thompson, and Detective Wilson left, Sarah and her colleagues sat in stunned silence for several minutes, trying to process everything that had happened. So we just spent an entire day working with an industrial spy, Raj finally said, breaking the silence. That's definitely a first. I can't believe we didn't suspect anything, Linda added. He seemed so legitimate. Professional con artists are good at what they do, Miguel sighed. At least they caught him before he could steal our presentation. Sarah nodded absently, her mind elsewhere. She was thinking about something the fake Martin had said during their work session, a comment about Sarah's leadership potential that had made her feel recognized for her hard work. Had that been manipulation to gain her trust, or had he genuinely seen something in her? The team helped Sarah clean up, then said their goodbyes, each heading home to recover from what had indeed been a crazy day at the office. Or rather, a crazy day that had started at the office and ended in places none of them could have predicted. The next morning, Sarah arrived at the office building, which was now fully operational again. The events of the previous day felt almost like a dream, but the increased security presence at the entrance confirmed that it had all been very real. As she rode the elevator to the 4th floor, she wondered what the real Martin Wells would be like, and whether her chances at a promotion had gone up or down after yesterday's chaos. When she reached her desk, she found a note asking her to come to the marketing director's office. With a deep breath, she walked over and knocked on the door. "Come in," called a friendly voice. Sarah entered to find a man who looked remarkably similar to the imposter, the real Martin Wells, sitting behind the desk. He stood up with a warm smile and extended his hand. "You must be Sarah Jenkins. I've heard a lot about you. All good things. Please have a seat." Sarah sat down, feeling a strange déjà vu. "First," Martin began, "I want to apologize for the extraordinary circumstances of yesterday. Mr. Davidson told me everything that happened." "It certainly was an unusual day," Sarah agreed. "Indeed. But I understand that despite the chaos, power, outage, evacuation, relocation, and even having an imposter as your boss, you and your team still managed to nearly complete the Vitatech presentation. That's extremely impressive." Sarah hadn't thought of it that way. "We were just doing our jobs." "No. What you demonstrated was exceptional leadership and adaptability under pressure. Those are qualities I value highly." Martin leaned forward. "Which is why I'd like to offer you the position of Assistant Marketing Director, reporting directly to me." Sarah's jaw dropped. "Assistant Director? But You've more than earned it," Martin assured her. "Even the imposter recognized your talent, according to what your colleagues told Mr. Davidson. So, what do you say?" A smile spread across Sarah's face as the disappointment of the previous morning was washed away by this unexpected turn of events. "Except," she said confidently, "thank you for this opportunity." "Excellent," Martin replied. "Now, shall we go meet with the team and formally introduce me, the real me this time, to everyone. As Sarah walked with Martin toward the conference room, she couldn't help but reflect on how unpredictable life could be. What had started as perhaps the worst Monday of her career had transformed into a stepping stone toward her professional dreams. If there was one lesson from her crazy day at the office, it was that sometimes the most chaotic circumstances can lead to the most wonderful opportunities. The end of that surreal week found Sarah in her new office, a small but private space with a window overlooking the city. On her desk sat a frame with her new business cards. Sarah Jenkins, Assistant Marketing Director. The VitaTech presentation had been a tremendous success, and the team was in high spirits. As Sarah looked out at the Friday afternoon sun glinting off the surrounding buildings, she smiled to herself. Monday seemed like a lifetime ago, yet the lessons it had taught her would remain forever. Stay adaptable, trust your instincts, and remember that even the craziest days can have silver linings. Some might say it was just luck that turned that chaotic disaster into a career opportunity. But Sarah knew better. It was her ability to remain professional and focused, despite the chaos that had proven her leadership potential. And as for the imposter who had inadvertently helped showcase her talents, well, according to the morning news, he was facing serious charges of corporate espionage, identity theft, and arson, ensuring he wouldn't be having any more crazy days at anyone's office for quite some time. Key vocabulary, repeated throughout: chaos, chaotic, great disorder or confusion. Example: the office was in chaos after the fire alarm went off. Coordinate, to organize people or activities so that they work together effectively. Example: department. Heads had to coordinate with their teams during the emergency, evacuation, to remove people from a dangerous place. Example: they had to evacuate the building when the fire alarm sounded. Promotion, the act of moving someone to a higher position or rank. Example: Sarah had been working hard for a promotion all year. Legitimate, real, acceptable, or reasonable. Example: everyone thought the fake Martin was a legitimate new director. Credentials, qualifications, achievements, or aspects of a person's background that indicate their suitability for something. Example: there were serious questions about the imposter's credentials. Diversion, something that takes attention away from what is happening. Example: the fire was created as a diversion to allow the theft of information. Infiltrate, to secretly join an organization to get information. Example: the spy tried to infiltrate the company by posing as the new director. Corporate espionage, the practice of spying on companies to steal secrets. Example: the imposter was charged with corporate espionage. Adaptability, the quality of being able to adjust to new conditions. Example: Sarah demonstrated exceptional adaptability under pressure. Professional, showing skill and competence in a job. Example: Sarah remained professional despite the chaotic circumstances. Implement, to put a plan or system into action. Example: they implemented the remote work protocol after the evacuation. Opportunity, a favorable circumstance or chance for advancement. Example: The crisis turned into an opportunity for Sarah to show her leadership skills. Confidential. Information that is meant to be kept secret. Example. They were handling confidential materials for the presentation. Speculation. The forming of opinions without having definite knowledge. Example. There was much speculation about what caused the fire. Was that story as crazy as you expected? Did you learn some new English vocabulary along the way? If you enjoyed a crazy day at the office, please hit that like button right now. Don't forget to share this video with friends who are also learning English, or anyone who appreciates a good workplace drama with unexpected twists. Have you ever experienced a chaotic day at work? Tell us about it in the comments below. And if you want more engaging stories to improve your English vocabulary and listening skills, subscribe to Story Driven English and hit the notification bell so you never miss our new uploads. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in our next storytelling adventure.